Hi, I'm Marissa from ETR Labs, and thank you very much for purchasing your brand new well cap system. And I just want to go through some of the steps and explain to you what we're going to be doing today. But the main reason why we're replacing the old well cap with the new one is because an old well cap is defective and it doesn't protect against foreign bodies entering into the water. So what we're going to go through are the steps to how to dismantle the old well cap and to assemble the new one. This is a sample of the kit that you received in the mail from us, and so I'm just going to go through and show you the pieces that should be in it. This is your instruction manual. This is your bag of assorted parts. This is your 2-foot pipe. And here is your brand new well cap. Okay. Next, we're going to go over some of the tools that you're going to need to get yourself started. Most of these tools are very simple and you can find them at your local hardware store or Home Depot. Some of the tools that you're going to need are a hacksaw, a wire brush, gloves, flat screwdriver, plumber's level, protective workman's glasses, propane torch, rubber mallet hammer, wire cutter, crimpers, 9/16 and 1/2 inch wrenches, channel locks, and wire strippers. And it's very important that before we start any of this work that you go down into your circuit breaker and turn off the switch that controls all of the electricity to the well, just because we're going to be working with wires and we don't want to have any accidents happen. And so once you've turned off your circuit breaker and everything's safe, then we can go outside and get started with the whole process. So here we are at the well. And we're just going to take you through the very simple process of removing the old well cap and replacing it with the ETR Labs permanent seal well cap that you received in the mail. So this is Eric. He is one of the owners of the company, and he's just going to take us through the very simple steps of how to change out the old well cap cover to the new one.
Great, thank you very much. Let's get started. First thing I want to instruct you on is, most important is to wear safety glasses when you're doing this job, right? Protect your eyes. Now what we have here is, I'm going to show you how to remove this old cap, which is an unsealed cap, off the existing well. And we're going to possibly change out the conduit line coming up here. So let me first get a pliers from our tools. And this particular cap here has 3 nuts that are compression nuts, and they kind of center the cap on tight. So what we do is we first want to loosen them. Let's go around, very simple. Loosen them, and the cap should slide very easily off, like so. Okay, what we're going to be looking at is a electrical conduit, the electrical wires that are going down into the pump system, and this is what powers your pump down there, and you're going to have just the casing. Okay, the next operation is to disconnect the wires from the pump itself, because the new cap that we're going to be installed, we're going to have to be snaking the wires through the cap. So first and most important thing is to shut off the breakers that power these wires, or you're going to have a surprise. All right, so let's first check to make sure the breakers are off. I'm sure you've seen that. We take a pair of dikes or wire cutters, and what we do is we separate the wires like this. And what I like to do is I like to snip it probably a little extra wire, maybe about 6 to 8 inches above the well casing. Cut each one individually. And now that you've separated them, it should look something similar to this. Well, our new cap is going to require that the conduit be a 1 inch in diameter. And what we have here with the existing conduit is only 1/2 inch. So I'm going to show you is how to convert a 1/2 inch conduit to a 1 inch conduit so it'll fit into our new cap system. So to make the conversion, we supplied you with a converting nipple. On one side is 1/2 inch and the other side is a 1 inch. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the 1/2 inch on one side, press it down, and then we're going to press in the 1 inch on the other side. And let me show you how this is done. We're going to measure the pipe so it's at least 2 or 3 inches above, and we're going to mark where that is right here on the existing conduit, which is right here. Then we're going to take our hacksaw and we're going to cut at that point. Okay, be very, very careful not to cut these wires as you're doing this. And you'll finally break it off like this and pull off the excess. You have it. Now what you need to do is to slip over the conversion nipple. And what we want to do is we want to just soften up the plastic of the old conduit. Heat it evenly. Do that till it just bottoms out. Now you're ready to put on the top piece. Okay, we're going to use the same method. We're going to heat the pipe. What it does is softens up the end so we can get it onto the adapter. Once we do that, tap it on in. What we're going to do now is we're going to take 2 hose clamps and we're going to secure this adapter on within the 2 pipes here. First slipping one of them over. Tighten the bottom one up first. And slip over the top one. And secure that. And that's what it should look like. Now you've converted the 1/2 inch conduit to a 1 inch conduit. If you already have an existing 1 inch conduit, it's not necessary. If, on the other hand, you have a 1 inch conduit that's very short and you need to extend it, we've also supplied you with another converter. And that is a 1 inch to 1 inch. So if you had a 1 inch coming out of the ground, it was short, you could plug this right into there and then stick the extension piece of 1 inch on there. And again, this is what you're trying to achieve, to get the end result to be 1 inch. Well, what you need to do now is grab the new cap, which comes in a sort of a pre-assembled form. What we're going to do first is we're going to pull the top portion of the cap off. And the bottom half of the cap is upside down, so we want to turn it right side up. And you have the nipple here facing down. Now this nipple is going to connect into here, and that's where the conduit wire is going to come through. All right, first thing we have to do is we got to get a measurement of exactly where the conduit is going to be cut and secured into the bottom of the cap. And the way we do this, we have 2 pilot boats right here. They're 1/2 inch pilot boats. And we're going to place the bottom of the base of the cap on the casing, and we're going to just snug up these bolts with a 1/2 inch wrench. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to bring that cap nice and flush with the casing, so we get good measurements. What we have here now is we've established a point where we could cut the conduit so it will fit snugly into the cap when it's in position. So what we do is we mark with a magic marker or a piece of tape, whatever you like. Right here, the very end of it, it's going to be up against the nipple, and we're going to cut that section right off with the hacksaw. So what we do is remove the base off. We can loosen up Move it off. Get our hacksaw, and we'll cut our mark. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to slip on another hose clamp onto the conduit before we place the base of the cap on. Here we are. And we just got to put it on and leave it loose, dangling like that. We'll take the base, and now this time we're going to feed the wires through the nipple, like this. We're going to bring the base down onto the conduit. And just start it like that. Take your torch. And again, we'll use that same method we did before to soften up the conduit plastic. Doesn't take a lot. Just go around and heat evenly. Once you have it softened, grab it and just tap it right in. There you go, you got a nice union. Now, we want to take the hose clamp, bring it right up snug, and tighten that into place. And that will secure the conduit permanently into the base of the cap. So now we have is the electrical conduit is completely sealed. No insects can enter into this region at all because it's going into a sealed nipple. Now, most important is we like to level off the cap so it looks nice too. So the way we do it, we use these pilot bolts. Snug them up so we get a little grip onto the casing. We can manipulate it. And we take a level. And the point where we want to check the level is right here where the nipple region is. And you can see it's pretty much level right there, this direction. We take the other direction. And it needs to come down just a little bit right here. So tap it down. Perfect. Recheck that direction, and that looks good. Once you have it level, go around and tighten up these 2 1/2-inch pilot bolts. By tightening those pilot bolts, the base of the cap now is secured onto the casing. And there's a compression fitting inside there, so by squeezing them, the rubber compressors are just coming in and uniting the base with the casing, so it's solid. And again, no insects or any contamination can come up behind the cap any longer. All right, the next thing we want to do is we want to rejoin the wires again. And this is important. You've got to have the right connectors to do that, and we've supplied you with that. Next, I'm going to show you how to rejoin the wires that we severed before we started the process. And most important is to put the right color with the right colors. You see there's red, green, and black. Some of them have 4 wires. There'll also be a yellow wire too. We've provided you with connectors that will connect 4. In this particular case, which is the most standard and common wires, are 3 wires. Okay, well the first thing we do is we want to strip off the wire ends, and we have a convenient wire stripper that we use. It works quite well. You can use anything. You use a jackknife, anything you like, but this works very easily. And I like to strip off about 1/2 inch. Try not to drop any tools down the well. Whoa. Okay, I have a couple of them that I stripped a little too long, so what we're going to do is just going to snip it down. So no problem, just like that. Okay, next what we want to do is we open up the package. And there are a couple of things inside this package. First are the silicone shrink tubes, and these are very important to these wires. And what they're going to do after we make the connection, they're going to seal them off for any water vapor so no corrosion will occur. You want to put these on first before you join the wires. You're going to have to take them apart again. And again, make sure that the breaker is off. The second item inside this package are these silver connectors. And they're compression connectors. And they're very easy to install. You just push them on the top. You take a crimper. You can use a crimper like this that's made specifically for them, or you can use a pliers. I like to use these, it's easy. And you give it a nice squeeze, and you test it to make sure that it is on, in fact, on the wire. You can do that to all three of them. Test it. Now again, I put the connectors on, double check, make sure you get those shrink wraps on, because now we're going to join it to the other wires that are going down into the pump. So it doesn't matter what color you work with first. I'll do black. A tool in position. Squeeze it and test it. Looks good. Next we'll go for the green. It's on nice and tight. And then the last one, the red one. All right, what we want to do is we want to separate them out like this. And we're going to take the silicone shrink wrap tubings and we're going to place them dead center over the connection. Like so. Then we're going to take our blowtorch, propane blowtorch, and we're going to just heat them gently so they shrink around the wire connection and they seal it off. What I like to do is I like to move one to the next, get them started. That way it gets them shrinking evenly. You don't want too much heat, you're going to burn the wires. And you'll see when they're properly shrinked, you'll actually see the wire become part of the silicone tubing. And they'll be transparent. You can actually see right inside and see the connectors. Now remember, they're hot at this point, so you got to let them cool down. Now that they've cooled down, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to twist the wire so we leave an opening in the center of the casing that we can put our disinfection agent down and use a hose to clean off the edges. That's a very easy process. We just group them together like this, move them around. So they're in a circular motion. And when you look down, you can look right down into the well, and you can see there's a clear passage for putting your disinfection agent and the water wash going down into the well casing. Next thing we're going to do is going to put the top half of the cap on and secure it with the bolts. Well, as you can see, all the bolts are already in it. But inside the cap, there's a gasket. And that's important. We've glued that gasket in for you. You want to make sure that's in place because that's going to seal these two halves. You just come over to the well, gently lower it on, and place all the bolts through. Position it straight. Again, make sure that the gasket, you can see it all the way around, and that's going to seal the top part. Now all we want to do is take the nuts, and we're going to put them around the base of it, and we're going to take all the nuts, and we're going to secure the top part of the well cap to the bottom part. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to finger tighten all the nuts. Remember, this cap is made out of cast iron. It's very rigid, and you don't want to over tighten. You could possibly crack it if you do. So you want to evenly torque the nuts around. So you're going to take two 9/16-inch wrenches. You're going to put one on the top bolt, and you're going to tighten the nut on the bottom, just snugging it, and you're going to work your way around the cap, evenly torquing them. Once you've done that once, I'd like you to go in. There are two 1/2-inch nuts here that will become loose. You'll notice they've loosened up because we were tightening on the 9/16. So I want you to go around with these and snug them back up too. And then one last time, go around and tighten up these 9/16-inch nuts and bolts. And there you have it. It's secured to the base now. There's only one more step to do, and that is to disinfect the well. Okay, once you have this all installed and everything's joined, it's solid and looks good, go back into the house, turn on the breakers, all right, to the pump, and make sure that the pump system is going to work, all right? And there you have it.